Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and I'm taking care of business. Joining me today is Paula Allen, Global Leader, Senior Vice President of Research and Total Wellbeing for LifeWorks. Thanks for joining us today, Paula.
Pleasure.
Well, let's talk about the mental health index that came out today. It's still lower than pre-pandemic levels, but can you talk a little bit about the trend and what you're seeing over the last few months or so in that index?
Well, we're getting a little bit deeper into what employees are feeling and also what's happening. So one thing that we found is at the beginning of the pandemic, there was a really upending of the scores, comparing managers and people who did not have people management responsibilities. So what I mean by that is prior to the pandemic, managers tended to have a little bit better mental health scores, a little bit older, access to resources, they've honed some problem solving skills, and that flipped during the pandemic. So it was lower. And then we started to see it coming more aligned. And now managers' mental health is, again, dipped below non-managers. So we thought that was kind of interesting as we're going through this next phase of how the workplace is going to look and the responsibility on managers to make things go as well as they possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
We also saw that about 45% of Canadians are acknowledging that their mental health has been impacted negatively by the pandemic. And there's a lot in that because people tend not to acknowledge in some situations, but we're talking about almost half. So not just the people who are in crisis, we're talking about the impact on the general population. And we would certainly agree based on our numbers. We've seen a high sensitivity to stress, about the same, about 46% are saying that they're more sensitive to stress than they were before, which again is not unexpected because of all the strain that we've been under. Our stress response has really become very sensitive.
Well, you mentioned the stress response. One of the interesting things I found in that survey was the younger demographic are more likely to feel it. Why would that be?
Well, I think it's because this disruption has impacted them more. When you think about all the change and the uncertainty, when you think about what it would be like to be at the start of your career and not have the structure and validation that you would normally expect over a 2-year period, a long period of time, when you think about the younger you are, the less resilient you are from a financial point of view. So the level of stress in terms of younger Canadians has been much more acute than those who are a little bit more established, and therefore the response, that kind of sensitivity to stress, it's not surprising that that's a little bit greater as well.
I remember a few years ago sitting at my local pub talking to people about this, about how, especially I'm based in Calgary, so in Alberta we've had the ups and downs of the economy, right? And there was a certain period of time there where a wave, a generational wave, didn't experience the down, right? They always experienced the up. And so when the down came, they didn't really know how to react and deal with that. But I guess as you age, you become wiser, I guess. You have more wisdom to see, things and economically and how things unravel, right?
You see more downs, but you've also seen more ups.
Right, exactly. Here's an interesting thing. I found that 17% of Canadians struggling with stress are unlikely to reach out for professional help. First of all, the why behind that. Why do you think that there's still a significant number that won't take that step?
I mean, this is such a complex issue and such a complex problem, actually. And I think when you look at the way we've kind of stigmatized mental health as a society, that's part of it. Because even if you're able to get, and we are able to get, each and every individual is able to get quality confidential help. people have difficulty accepting that they themselves might have a mental health issue. People sometimes believe that if they tough it out, that if they show grit, things will get better, not understanding necessarily how the brain works. So I think that there's a lot of lack of knowledge, and I think that there's a lot of stigma that impacts how people will really even accept things from their own point of view. And I think it's also telling that those who are least likely to reach out, they're also more likely to have the lower mental health scores. So I think there's also a factor where people might just feel that they can't be helped.
Mm.
You know, if you don't have a sense of hope,
Yeah.
if you don't understand, you know, how powerful mental health counseling and medical care can be at this point, if you think you're not going to get better if you reach out, then you're less likely to be motivated to reach out.
And what are the consequences of not reaching out to professional help?
If you have a situation that has impacted your life, the way you think, the way you feel, and you don't reach out for that professional help, it will get worse over time. You know, what happens is two things. Number one, the complexity of the issue, just like in a physical issue. So, you know, if you don't catch a heart condition or cancer early, if you catch it in the later stages, you know, there's things that have happened that where it is compounding the problem. The anxiety will build on the anxiety, the depression will reinforce itself. But you're also losing quality of life, and you're probably things are happening that ends up disrupting your life. So without getting help early, what can happen is not only does the issue get worse in and of itself, but your relationships suffer, your experiences suffer. The decisions that you make might not be the decisions that you would have otherwise made. Your behavior might change. Essentially, other things about your life situation become more complex, which makes it much more difficult to get out of.
And from a company standpoint, what does all that mean when you have a workforce that's with that many people, you know, dealing with some mental health challenges? What does that mean in terms of productivity and the company's ability to operate efficiently and at a higher level, I guess?
But I think what we're realizing is that we are in a people-powered economy right now. I mean, everybody has access to technology. You know, everybody has the ups and downs of supply chain. You know, what really makes a difference is as people being able to work at their best. You know, be innovative, be collaborative. You know, have good customer service. Like all of those things make a difference. And all of those things are impacted if our mental well-being is impacted. So I think having an environment and having the support to make sure that you can be at the top of your scale also means that your organization can be at the top of its scale.
Okay, super. Thanks, Paula, for joining us again today.
My pleasure.
All right, that was Paula Allen, Global Leader, Senior Vice President, Research and Total Wellbeing for LifeWorks. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, taking care of business. Thanks for joining us today.